That's right. It's time again for Bookward Bound. 301 days from I should really do this to done. And once again, it's my opportunity to actually get down in my office after I've done my work for the day, had some dinner, and actually start working on the thing that I really want to work on, which is the book that I want to have done by January 1st of 2021. Now, the question is, am I going to be able to do that? And the cool thing I'm showing you now is if you've watched any of the previous Bookward Bounds, I've had my hero cam over here, a Canon 70D with a nice Zeiss lens on it, gives me nice soft focus background, all that stuff, makes me look pretty darn good, right? Well, now I've added another camera, my B camera. It's a Sony A6000 that I had lying around, and one of those things that came up in my YouTube feed a while back was how to use a Sony A6000 as your webcam. And I'm like, oh my God, instead of my crappy 720p built-in camera in my MacBook Pro, I'm sorry, I love my MacBook Pro. It's a 2019, brand new one, but the cameras in there are rudimentary at best. It's definitely where Apple is saving a little bit of money so they can spend it elsewhere. So instead, I've got this really nice Sony A6000, and as I cheat to look over there, ooh, daddy likey. It's a good look, makes me feel very comfortable, and it plays well against its bigger brother, the Canon 70D over there. 2 shots, same great taste, or peanut butter and chocolate, I guess. Reese's Pieces, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. 2 great tastes that go great together, Sony and Canon. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get to work, shall we? I am going to open up iThoughts X, the app that I use for mind mapping. And I'm going to open up the right thing, and boom, you can see. Once again, why do I love mind mapping? Well, it's like outlining for visual people, or people who are both visual and verbal at the same time, because you can get the big picture. I mean, seriously, the whole picture of your book right there. But you can also dive down and get super granular. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at one specific section, which I'm calling branding under an umbrella. Now, what's that actually mean? Well, a lot of people want to build a personal brand, but they have a day job, and they work for a company that has a brand. And some people worry that a personal brand conflicts with a company brand, and unfortunately, a lot of companies think that too. Well, I'm here to tell you, no, fear not, gentle nonfiction brander. They don't have to be competitors. They can be complementary. And as I like to say, right down there, I've got it right there, brand floats both boats. If you make yourself better, that's going to help build the company brand. And if your company allows you to become the best person that you can be for that company, of course, you're going to provide better customer service. You're going to be more qualified. You're going to attract people. And should you ever leave, you will have made the place such a good place, or helped make it such a good place, that the company can't help but benefit, right? If you're good and everybody around you is good, if you go from that team to a different team, does that mean the other team, the team you just left, is all of a sudden going to fail? Of course not. You're all working at a high level. So building your brand, your personal brand, can help burnish the company's brand. And that's really the point I'm going to be making in this section. But I need to flesh that out a little bit. So, and actually I'm going to be doing a keynote presentation of this coming up in April. So this is another good two birds at one stone situation. I'm going to be working on the presentation while I'm working on the book, and working on the book while I'm working on the presentation. Do you see how cool that is? Yeah. In fact, I think I've already started working on this presentation. I hate this. When you type in too many words and all of a sudden the wrong thing comes up. Keynote. And then do it twice. Come on. So K-N. There you go. Apple, it's funny. You type in Apple's name of its application, and it doesn't even come up. Yeah, you got to work on that. So I'm opening up Keynote. I'm looking for a recent file, and I'm calling this branding under an umbrella. Have I started that yet? You can see I got a ton of presentations here that I give on a regular basis. Branding gets personal. I think it's probably close to this one. Sell the truth. Yeah, I'm going to open up this one. Well, anyway, I give a ton of presentations, and consequently, I can tap those presentations for content. And I certainly am going to do that. Ooh, actually, I can go up here. The what? Personal branding. Branding against personal. What it is, why you should care, and how it can help. How it can start and future-proof your post-college career. Let me say that again. The title of this presentation is Branding Gets Personal. What it is, why you should care, and how it can start and future-proof your post-college career. I created this presentation, obviously, for college students. In this case, UW Success Works, which is part of the College of Arts and Science, I think, or Communications and Science. It's one of those. I don't know. And I gave it to them, and it was very well attended. Had a great time doing it. And now I'm going to mine this presentation for the stuff that I don't currently have in here. So let's see. I'm going to put Fast Company magazine. I got to get Fast Company magazine cover August September issue 1997. Get image of mag cover. And again, I'm just making notes to myself. These are all things that I have to do as I seek to create this book. So get it all in one place so you can see it all and remember stuff. Don Stanley. Hey, man. How are you? I am using iThoughts X. I'm a Mac user, as you know, Don. And this right here is iThoughts X, which I really, really like because you can do stuff like this. Oh, goodbye. I can zoom in on all sorts of stuff, and I can explode it out if I'd like. And I can move stuff all over the place. So this becomes a really fantastic tool for building a book, for getting your thoughts on paper, and etc. So I need, I don't know if I'm going to use the personal, the Wikipedia definition because that will always be changing, but maybe I'll search for another source for that. Yeah, no problem, Don. And if you have any questions about anything, just go ahead and chime in because I love my shiny objects distracting me from actually doing the stuff that I don't want to do. Personal branding definition. Self-packaging is a major concept that I definitely want to talk about. A citation. I'm going to put citation in here just to remind myself to be sure to cite this magazine and where it shows up. You can read the brand called You article. Oh, I need that. The brand called You article. And maybe an excerpt from it under the guidelines of fair use. Thank you very much, because I don't have a clearance staff in my publishing company. Yeah, I bet you the dogs aren't helping. My dogs aren't either. I mean, they are crazy. Self-packaging. Oh, Tiffany bag example. Oops. And again, so I'm just really going through the presentation I've already created and plugging in stuff like here's the red gummy bear, and I talk about that someplace down here. Ask the red gummy bear. Yeah, be the red gummy bear. And that's a Pixabay. Let's see. I always Ranil. I always put the citations in of, even if it's you can use this photo for free and you don't even have to cite where you got it. I always do, because I think it's a best practice for anyone presenting to give credit where credit is due. So yeah, and take a look at this slide. It's not exactly a huge citation, but it's still there. It's right there. And that just helps me in the long run too, because if I'm going to do this book, I've already got the high-res version of this photo, but this allows me to give photo credits within the book, which again burnishes the quality of my book, or the perceived quality of my book, because if I were doing this via Random House or Simon & Schuster, they would certainly credit every photo. So if I'm self-publishing a book, don't I want it to look as real and quality as a Simon & Schuster or Random House book? Yes, I do. Yeah, I think I will add that. The conceptual foundation upon which every blog, post, video, podcast. I'm going to create this massive list of stuff is built. That's just a note to me to flesh out that thing. I literally want to take an entire page. What is the conceptual foundation for every for the entire page, so that people understand that having a brand is not just a luxury. It's the foundation upon which your house is built, your career is built, your success is built. Come on, baby. And I want to make sure run on paragraph styled to fit the entire page. Again, this is an idea I just had. Well, guess what? I just captured it, and it goes in the mind map. And I won't get around to creating this run-on paragraph style to fit the entire page for months, probably. But I captured it in the mind map, and that makes it easy for me to go back to and reference and also figure out where things fit within the book. Do you see why mind mapping is so incredibly great? Outlining to me, mind mapping is outlining on steroids and super, super flexible. An outline, especially if you write it by hand, if you want to change things around, you got to rewrite the whole thing. Fiddly, it's a mess. But mind mapping, brilliant. and I love it. So we're going back to this bad boy. And I'm just going to go down these slides and capture ideas. I already got the Brandle stuff in here. Where is it? I probably need to move that up. All right. You, comma, the brand. Empty suitcase. Graphic. What does that refer to? It refers to that. And all the crap that goes in it, which makes you who you are. Well, guess what? You're a bit of a mess. Unless you're a brand. One of the things I found in my presentations is that what really makes them work well is when you lead people down the forest path and you aren't telling them what to think, they're thinking with you. And all of a sudden they start out behind you. Then they catch up with you. And by the end of the presentation, they're in front of you because they're already thinking about, okay, how can I do this for myself? What can make it easier for me to do this? All those things can happen if you create a presentation that literally illuminates the path. And that's what I always try to do. Is it too much to call them Brandles? Yeah, Brandles. Knowing and showing. Knowing and let's do commas. I use too many long dashes. You're completely true. Story. Sorry, I was never a good typist. After, close to 30 years as a writer, I still can't type. At least I don't do this. I'm a touch typist that has no touch, but I'm a touch typist. True story. True dat. Oops. I want to do Teresa story, if she'll let me, because it's a good one. Differentiation. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to talk about Nick Myers. I might, just because. Because I can do a section like this. Smartass me loves to do stuff like this. Meet the 20-something year old. Do I have to hyphenate that? That's eating your lunch. A section title like that, how can you not want to read it? Nick Myers, a story. Ooh, this would be a good place for Sarah Gross's too. So I have her in a list someplace else. But those two stories would be really great because both are 20-somethings that have embraced building their personal brands. Put this Nick Myers story. I'm just going to make note to myself that it's in the branding gets personal keynote. That's where all the actual images and screenshots like this live. I can make that bigger on screen for you, so I think I will. All right. Moving on. Bangkok as in Thailand. You can't win it. So this might be a subsection. You can't win it if you aren't in it. And these two are in it to win it. At your expense? Question mark. I'll leave it out like that. Your brand 9090 included all this garbage in Rotoma, the Rotoma book, so I'm not going to repeat it here. Me or my biz, me or Inc. What's the diff? Company brand. Oh, yeah. That's good. What does your movie poster look like? What does your... Yeah, that's a good story. Another big idea. What's your star avatar? Flagship. So I am kind of carving this book up into two sections, two major buckets. One is the theory, which is going to talk about the philosophy of nonfiction branding in detail, but with a lot of stories, a lot of examples, a lot of visuals. But the second part, I think, might be a workbook companion, and it's going to be called The Practice. And it's literally how you do it, all that stuff that should get you thinking, and a lot of worksheets, things like that. So I think the book is going to be 6x9, maybe, but the workbook is going to be 8x10. So, you can kind of open it up. That way you can read the book, learn about that, but then put stuff into practice. What's your flagship? Hold on. I closed down the theory. Key 3. No, that's a good place there. We can do some Key 3 stuff in this section. What's your flagship? Content cascade. LinkedIn. All right, so this whole concept, demanding credit where credit is due, is all about, we all do these things. Oh, you're sitting here looking at me type. Sorry about that. We all do these things like personal development, and we go in these courses. We do all these networking events. We're always out there doing the right thing with the right people, but a lot of us don't take credit for it or don't get credit for it. And that's a problem, because once everybody understands that you developing yourself as a professional is a valuable thing, not just for you, but the people who might want to engage with you, that's incredibly important stuff for them to understand and important stuff for you to get credit for. So I'm actually going to unselfish selfie. I'm going to talk about ways to make the most of stuff. Now, the Unselfish Selfie site, ROTOMA book. The Unselfish Selfie is a concept that I wrote about in Rotoma, the Rotoma book, that looks something like that. And I can't remember what page it's on. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to not necessarily write about the whole thing again, but I think I might develop it further, because I wrote pretty clearly about how you can use unselfish selfies to make other people look good. I think I need to hammer it home a little harder about how it can really help you build yourself and your personal brand and get credit for the things you do. Now, I don't have to beat people over the heads with this, but I will say that I've now gone to social media marketing world 3 years in a row. And in toto, if you add that up, if I didn't pay for a lot of tickets with airline miles and stuff, I'm guessing with tickets and everything else, it's probably close to $2,500 a year. So that's the $7,500 that I've spent on developing myself, becoming more expert so that I can potentially serve my customers better. And if, like most of the people there, I'm not taking credit for it, if I'm not sharing the things I learned, the people I met, if I'm not taking credit for going there and being there, who's going to give me that credit? Nobody. And I hate to say this, I grew up in the upper Midwest, and we're definitely people who don't like to, or put it this way, when you read in the Bible not to hide your light under a bushel, a lot of us misread that and said, definitely hide your light under a bushel, because, young man, you're no better than anyone else, so don't you put on airs. Well, let me tell you something. The rest of the world isn't waiting for people to recognize them. They're going out there and they're getting that recognition. And that's what I really want to hit harder. So I'm going to write hit harder on the take credit for what you do and learn aspect of the unselfish selfie. Yeah, you definitely should, right? Right. And it goes back to getting over yourself when it comes to touting your abilities and your capabilities. All right. Going back over here. Oh, yeah, that's good. Always be closing. In sales, it's ABC. Always be closing. I want to go, it's all about in social Guess what that stands for? It's always be creating content. So that'll be another big one. Oh yeah, you can't post. So you can see how my paragraphs are coming together, and I haven't typed a paragraph yet. You can't post the photo you didn't take. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so I pulled pretty much what I can out of this presentation, I think, which is cool for now. And look at that. I've advanced the ball forward on this book project at 8 p.m. on a Monday in March. You know, you got to make hay while the coronavirus is out there, right? Take advantage of it and do the things that you thought you never had time to do. In my case, it's jump-starting this book. Today is, I think, day 12, if I'm not mistaken. Can you believe that? Day 12 of BOOKWARD BOUND. 301 days from I should really do this to done. And Don, if you're still on, let me see. I've got one viewer. I'm hoping it's you. Anyway, Don, you'll love this. Why am I doing this? Well, I went to Social Media Marketing World, and I was talking to one of my friends who happens to be from Sydney, Australia. And he told me about someone he had heard of or met, or maybe it's a friend of his. I don't know. We had a few drinks. Details went out the window, but not this detail, which was that his friend was trying, he wanted to, he was a golf pro, you know, kind of like your garden variety golf pro, works at your local golf course, country club, whatever, etc. And he had always wanted to see if he could compete in the Australian Open. Well, just like any open tournament, it is open to anyone who can qualify. So this guy decided, you know what? I'm going to do everything I can to qualify for the Australian Open. And that means I'm going to do 191 days from the date he started to the Australian Open qualifying tournament. So he decided he was going to demonstrate what he was doing every single day to get ready to qualify for the Australian Open via a live stream. I don't know if it was Facebook Live or Twitch or what, but I'll get that information because I'm going to have this guy on my podcast for sure. And this is going to be in the book for damn sure. And I heard that story and I'm like, wow, that's cool. And then my friend Todd said, yeah, well, that's not all, because at the end of the 191 days, he competed in the tournament and didn't qualify. Oh, well, guess what? Over the 191 days, he had built an audience of people who loved following his journey toward that big, lofty, big, hairy, audacious goal, you know, that BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. And they were so inspired by it that a guy wrote him a letter saying, you know what, I really was inspired by watching your journey and seeing what you were doing. And, you know, I'm so sorry you didn't make it. Here's a check for $10,000 that I would like you to donate to the charity of your choice. Wow. Well, guess what? It didn't stop there. Another person said, well, you know what? I don't have $10,000 to give you, but I have 1,000, and I'd like you to do the same thing. So here this guy was doing something for himself that he shared with the world at large. An audience found him, and at the end, it generated at least $11,000 for charity in Australia. But I guarantee you other stuff was generated as well. Things like, So the guy who donated $10,000, if you've got $10,000 lying around, you might be a business person. You might own a business. You might own a business that has quarterly sales meetings. You might own a business that has quarterly sales meetings where the salespeople get together and go golfing. Maybe that guy is going to hire this golf pro to come help teach his salespeople how to be better golfers or how to enjoy golf more. Maybe he'll do that. If anybody who watched that stream needed a golf pro for golf lessons, who are they going to call? They're going to call him. Why? Because they have this deep, emotional, personal relationship with this dude, and they've never met him. And by the way, how much money did this guy spend for broadcast TV ads? How much did this guy spend for outdoor boards along the highway? How much did he spend on anything other than his time, energy, and broadband bandwidth that he's already paying so he can watch Netflix whenever he wants? Seriously, he took what he had and he leveraged it beautifully to create an entirely new self for himself. He's now a minor celebrity in his neck of the woods, and I guarantee you it's not going to stop there. He put himself out there in a huge way, and he's being rewarded for it. I hear this story, and I go, you know what? I've been thinking about this a long time. I've been thinking about this book for at least 12 years. And a big part of it was, well, who am I? You know, it's the old imposter syndrome stuff. And then when you get older, you realize we're all imposters. We're all faking it because nobody has the 100% right way to do anything. So why not own who you are, what you do, and how you do it in a way that other people might find interesting and resonate with? So after 12 years of thinking about this book, it's time to stop thinking about it and start actually getting it on paper. And as you've seen, my paper comes in the form of a mind map on iThoughts. It also comes in the form of some actual writing that I've started to do in Scrivener, which is I don't know if it's cross-platform. I know for sure it's Mac, obviously, because I'm a Mac user. But Scrivener is used by a ton of book authors, including people you would know, to write their books because of the way it allows you to format and organize the book. It makes book writing a whole lot easier. For example, if you have to write a book as a Word doc and you've got essentially a 200-page scrolling document, talk about pain and what happens if that file disappears. You lose the whole thing. Scrivener allows you to write chapters or subchapters or and organize the book as you go on the fly so you can actually visualize the way things are happening. It also allows you to capture all the stuff you want to plug into the book. So things like, for me, images. You can plug those right into digital images, right into the Scrivener project file. So everything about your book is all in one place. I'm not using Scrivener today, but if you follow this live stream on a regular basis, you will see me dipping in and out of Scrivener and iThoughts X. I might even put the final stuff into Word or something like that for final cleanup and finish sanding, if you will, with some triple aught steel wool to take all the edges out, because I know how to do that. Because this book was written in Scrivener, but then ported over to Word for final, making sure all the margins are correct and stuff like that. And also pagination, making sure the pagination was correct as well. So if you want to learn how to do a book osmotically, I'm your guy. If you want to learn how to do it step by step by step, do this, do this, do this, forget about it. I'm not that guy because I'm not a tactician. I am a strategist who then has to find his way toward tactical execution. I invite you to follow this journey. I invite you to keep me honest by making me do this. And as I say, I've done this 12 consecutive days. I only have, what's 301 minus 12? Oh my God. I don't even want to think about that. 289 days or whatever it is. I have to do 280 plus days of consecutive live streams. What am I? An idiot? Go ahead and answer that question, because I'm answering it in my head right now, which is, yeah, you are, dude. Well, anyway, that's it for me today. I'm DP Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand Podcast and Nonfiction Brandversity, the free Facebook group that I'd love to invite you to join. Just search Nonfiction Brandversity on Facebook, ask to join. You'll be asked 3 questions to prove you're not a bot, and then you're in. And it's free. It's a great place to share ideas, to learn more, to see what's going on amongst a group of really nice people who are trying to build their personal and professional brands and their small business brands the incredibly free way. You know, you don't have to hire a big agency to build a brand, but you do need to do the work. And that's why Nonfiction Brandversity is all about teaching you how to do the work and inspiring you to actually do the work, the same way that you are inspiring me to write and work on this damn book. That's it for me tonight. Don, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again real soon in and around Madison. And music. Hey, Nonfiction Brand theme song, take us on out.